He was the Prince of Darkness. The godfather of heavy metal. The bat-biting madman who shocked the world with every scream, every riff, every stage dive. But Ozzy Osbourne was also something else, something few could have predicted. He was a reality TV dad. Yes, the man who helped shape the very sound of hard rock became, in the twilight of his career, the star of a household sitcom that flipped the genre on its head. And now, as the world mourns his passing on July 22 at age 76, we look back not just at the music, the anthems, the rebellion, the thunder, but at the strange and unforgettable chapter that was the Osbournes. Ozzy didn't need a second act. He was already a legend. He had nothing left to prove to music. But in 2002, MTV lit a match under a cultural phenomenon. That match was Ozzy's living room. When the Osbournes premiered in March of that year, television was not ready. Nobody was ready. Because this wasn't Leave It to Beaver. This wasn't Full House. This wasn't your average domestic comedy. This was Ozzy. This was Sharon. This was Jack and Kelly. This was madness, profanity, pets pooping on the carpet, and dad yelling from the basement. And people couldn't look away. MTV called it a reality show. But it felt like theater. Raw, funny, loud, heartfelt, ridiculous. It was lightning in a bottle. Ozzy, the heavy metal anti-hero, had become a reluctant sitcom icon. The world had never seen anything like it. And they may never again. Millions tuned in. And they weren't just rock fans, they were families. Teenagers. Grandparents. Everyone. Why? Because behind the tattoos, the slurred speech, and the chaotic editing, was a real man. A father. A husband. A human being. And people saw him. Ozzy yelling, Sharon, from every corner of the house became an instant catchphrase. A meme before memes existed. It was part Flintstones, part Spinal Tap, part beautiful disaster. It was genius. And Ozzy wasn't playing a character. He was just being himself. The same man who once fronted Black Sabbath was now trying to work the TV remote. The same man who howled into microphones now argued with his kids about curfews and chores. He cursed. He shuffled around in slippers. He tried to make sense of a world that never quite made sense to him. And through all the noise, there was heart. You saw the love he had for Sharon. You saw the pride he had in his children. You saw the confusion, the exhaustion, the affection, the effort. Ozzy had been a rock god. Now, he was just dad. And that was revolutionary. Because before the Osbournes, reality TV was glossy, controlled, polished. Ozzy changed that. He didn't hide the mess. He was the mess. And people loved him for it. The show won the Primetime Emmy Award for Outstanding Reality Program. A heavy metal pioneer had just become a television trailblazer. How many artists can say that? Ozzy reinvented himself without changing a thing. He brought the same authenticity to television that he did to the stage. And the world watched in awe. Kelly Osbourne's rebellious style. Jack's teenage antics. Sharon's fierce loyalty and sharp tongue. It was chaotic. It was hysterical. It was real. And Ozzy. He was the eye of the storm. Mumbling, then boom, a burst of dad rage or a bizarre observation about the cat. You never knew what he was going to say. Half the time, neither did he. But that unpredictability, that rawness, is what made him magnetic. You laughed. You cringed. You rooted for him. Because even in a bathrobe, Ozzy was a legend. He was still the Prince of Darkness. But now, he was also a man trying to make toast at 3 a.m. with the dog barking and the kids fighting upstairs. It was beautiful. And it was important. The Osbournes kicked down the door for a generation of reality shows to follow. There would be no Keeping Up with the Kardashians without the Osbournes. No The Simple Life. No Jessica and Nick. Ozzy made reality TV safe for chaos. And in doing so, he brought his legend to a whole new audience. Young viewers who never heard Paranoid suddenly knew Ozzy as that funny old guy who yells, Sharon. He reached across generations. He became not just a rock star, but a cultural icon. But he never sold out. He never became something he wasn't. He was still Ozzy. Still struggling with speech from years of wear and tear. Still battling demons. Still unapologetically himself. And the world admired him for it. We watched him laugh, cry, fumble, and rage. And it reminded us that even icons are human. That even the loudest voices need quiet moments. That even the Prince of Darkness has a family who loves him. When the show ended, its impact remained. It left behind a blueprint, a tone, a swagger. And Ozzy carried on. With more music, more tours, more Ozzy moments. He was unstoppable. Until this week. When the world paused. When headlines blared. When fans wept. When music dimmed. Ozzy Osbourne, the rock titan and reality dad, was gone. But his echo remains. In every riff. In every meme. In every whispered, Sharon. He showed us that you could be wild and warm. Loud and loving. Fierce and fragile. He lived with noise and left with silence. And now, we remember. We remember the legend on stage. We remember the dad on the couch. We remember the icon who made us laugh, bang our heads, and yell at our TVs in joy. Ozzy Osbourne didn't just change music. He changed culture. And he did it while wearing slippers.